So, you're thinking about becoming a Montessori teacher and you've decided to look at online training? That's awesome. But it can get a little overwhelming, right? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to cut through all that noise and break down the top 5 programs out there. The goal here is to give you the clarity you need to make the best choice for you. All right, let's dive in. Okay, does this feel familiar? You're so ready to start your Montessori journey, but when you look online, it just feels like this giant, confusing maze of courses. You know you're passionate about the method, but all the options are just a lot. You're probably asking yourself, which one is actually good? Which one will schools recognize? And, which one can I realistically fit into my life and my budget? Don't worry, we're going to get those questions answered for you. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First up, we're going to talk about what really matters when you're looking at these courses. Then I'll introduce you to the top 5 programs. After that, we'll put them all side by side, head to head, so you can see the differences. And finally, we'll pull it all together to help you figure out which one is your perfect fit. Sound good? We're going to make a clear path right through that maze. All right, so before we even start looking at specific names and prices, we need to talk about the absolute foundation of your choice. There is one key factor that honestly changes everything. And that big, important factor? It's accreditation, specifically something called MAKE-T. Now, what is MAKE-T? You can think of it as the gold standard in the Montessori world. It's the internationally recognized seal of approval. Even the U.S. Department of Education recognizes it. And it basically says, yep, this program meets some seriously high standards. And here's the bottom line. If your goal is to work in a certified Montessori school, having a MAKE-T accredited certification is pretty much non-negotiable. It's a really big deal. Okay, so keeping that big idea of accreditation in mind, here's the simple checklist we're going to use to look at every program. We're going to look at, is it MAKE-T accredited or is it independent? What's the total cost going to be? How long will it take to finish? What age level does it focus on? Like toddlers or early childhood? And what's the learning style? Is it self-paced or are you learning with a group? Using this checklist for each one will keep everything super clear and simple. Promise. All right, checklist in hand? Perfect. It's time to meet our contenders. We've sorted through all the noise and picked out 5 of the biggest, most well-known online programs you're likely to come across. So, the programs we're going to look at are Age of Montessori, the North American Montessori Center, the Prepared Montessori Institute, Trillia Montessori, and the International Montessori Council. And as you're going to see in a minute, these guys cover the whole spectrum, from those really official career track MAKE-T courses to some much more flexible independent options. Okay, and now for the main event. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty, the head-to-head comparison. We're going to use our checklist and put all 5 of these programs right next to each other so we can see exactly how they stack up. All right, here it is. This table pretty much tells the whole story. Let's walk through it. First, I want you to look at that accreditation column. See that? There's a really clear split, right? You got 3 that are MACTA accredited, Age of Montessori, Prepared Montessorian, and IMC. And then you have 2 that are independent, NAMC and Trillium. Okay, now slide your eyes over to the estimated cost column. What do you see? There is a huge connection here. Those MACT programs, they're a serious investment. We're talking anywhere from around $6,500 up to $8,000. But look at the independent ones, way, way more affordable. This right here, this is the central trade-off we're going to keep talking about, accreditation versus cost. So let's zoom in for a second on just those 3 MACT-LT programs. This chart makes the price difference really easy to see. So even when you're looking at what we called the gold standard, there's still a pretty big range in price. You can see the Prepared Montessorian comes in as the most affordable of the 3 at about $6,500, and Age of Montessori is on the higher end, closer to $8,000. I mean, that's a $1,500 difference, which is definitely something to think about for your budget. So, what does this all mean for you? Here's the most important takeaway. Choosing between a MACT accredited course and an independent one really just boils down to one thing. What is your goal? If you're dreaming of a career in a certified Montessori school, then that MACT accreditation is probably what you need. It's a bigger investment for sure, but it's what opens the professional doors. But if you're a homeschooler, or maybe you're already a teacher who just wants to bring some Montessori magic into your current classroom, then the incredible flexibility and much lower cost of an independent program could be absolutely perfect for you. Okay, We've looked at all the data, we've compared the programs. Now, let's turn all of that information into a decision. This is where we take all these facts and apply them directly to your life so you can find your perfect fit. I've got a super simple 3-step plan to help you make this choice without all the stress. Step 1, get super clear on your goal. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it for a full-blown teaching career in a school, or is it more for homeschooling or personal development? Step 2, be really honest with yourself about your resources. What's a realistic budget for you, and how much time can you actually commit to this each week? And then, step 3 is easy. You just take your answers from steps 1 and 2, and you hold them up against that big comparison table we looked at. I promise you, when you do that, the right choice is going to become so much clearer. You know, while we're getting caught up in all the practical stuff, the costs, the schedules, it's so important to remember why you're doing this in the first place. The whole Montessori philosophy is about empowering children, and Maria Montessori said it best. The greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say, the children are now working as if I did not exist. That's the goal, right? And whatever training you choose, it's the very first step toward creating that kind of amazing environment for kids. So there you have it, a clear, straightforward guide to some of the top online Montessori programs out there. Hopefully, we've cut through the confusion and given you the facts and a simple framework to make your decision. Your teaching journey is right there in front of you, and it all kicks off with this one single informed choice. So the only question left to ask yourself is, which path are you